Let's start here. And the reason why I want to start here is we've been talking a lot of Phoenix Suns lately. And I'm going to be honest with you, I am just burnt out from the Suns season. So we'll get to that in just a second. There's a lot of things to get to there. Let's quickly break down Monti Ossenfort and Jonathan Gannon speaking to the media for the first time in months, it feels like. The Cardinals season ended. There was no media availability. Now there is. Those two guys spoke, and they had some sort of interesting things to say. And it felt like two kind of guys on opposite ends of the aisle. So let's just break it down. Not necessarily crazy opinions on this one, but let's just break down some of the things they said. And first, the most important one was the Kyler Murray quarterback topic. And why I found that one so interesting, because Jonathan Gannon, on one hand, was ready to say that Kyler Murray was going to have an insane breakout season in 2025. Not necessarily breakout, but he's going to be incredible. He did not waver on his support of Kyler Murray. And then Monti Ossenfort kind of left the door cracked open just a little bit for his ability to potentially come and allow another player in to that quarterback room. Whoever that might be, a veteran, a guy that they draft. And I thought that was interesting. Because you had on one side Jonathan Gannon giving a vote of confidence to his guy. And you had on the other hand Monti Ossenfort not necessarily going against their quarterback. And it could have been as simple as coach speak. And what I mean by that is just hardcore media training. You say a lot, but in reality, you say nothing. But I did think it was interesting that Monti didn't say things like, yeah, definitely not in the first round. Yeah, definitely not in the second round. It means that they're open to everything. And it shows me that in some ways, the Arizona Cardinals still have the ability to potentially go out and get another guy. So that was the first thing that was really interesting about Monti Ossenfort and Jonathan Gannon's pressers yesterday. Jonathan Gannon on one side was, yeah, we love Kyler. He's going to be incredible. He's going to be great next season. And on the other side, you had Monti Ossenfort, who was just continuously saying, I don't know, we'll see. And it could be just as simple as coach speak. And I don't think that's an insane thing to think. And this was all coming from our guy, Johnny Venerable, Bo Brock, really putting out all that information of Monti Ossenfort and JG to the masses. So credit to those two guys. Those guys do awesome work. Good dudes. I know them both. Friend of the channel. And then there was the next thing. The Marvin Harrison Jr. dilemma. Marvin Harrison Jr. was, in my opinion, a bit underwhelming in his rookie season. No, he was not bad. No, he was not a bust. None of those things. It just feels like at number 4 overall, you need to have a Justin Jefferson type of season. You need to be awesome, stellar, right away, I might add. And he wasn't that this year. But what was encouraging to hear was Monti Ossenfort saying this guy's in the building every single day trying to get better. I think that's a real key aspect to Marvin Harrison Jr. that I'm not sure we got a glimpse of. His ability to see what the Arizona Cardinals are doing and to match whatever it is, intensity, tenacity that he needs to bring to the table. And I believe he did that. Monti Ossenfort coming out and saying he's in the gym every single day. It shows me there is a little bit of a fire that didn't need to be light. It was already there for Marvin Harrison Jr. His ability to be in the gym, be around the team, continuously get better each and every day. Those are things I did worry about with Marvin. Not that he's a bad player, nothing like that. But I do wish we did see some of that fire that is obviously lit under him all season long. Marvin Harrison Jr. is not a bust. He's a good player. But at number 4 overall, he did leave some things to be desired on the table. It's not an indictment on him. It's not the fact that he's going to be awful. Nothing like that. But you do think Marvin Harrison Jr. was going to be better, or at least I did. And people sometimes will compare the statistics between Marvin Harrison Jr. and Marvin Harrison Sr., and they're very similar. Well, until you break it down that the NFL is more offensive than ever, and there's an extra game. So Marvin Harrison Jr. should, theoretically, that should be the baseline, is him tying his father in all those statistics. And then lastly, this was the biggest thing from the press conference that we saw. They talked a lot about the defensive line, helping some of the defensive line woes that the Arizona Cardinals had last year. And our guy Johnny Venerable, who's been a huge advocate on the Arizona Cardinals going after two particular guys. And this is what Johnny had to say. The general consensus here at the NFL Combine is that both Josh Sweat and Milton Adams will be available to hit the free agent market. Sweat is reportedly looking for around $18 million per year, while Williams could command over $20 million per year. Continued messaging on both players is highest bidder, and they will win their services. I find that very interesting because now you have a free agency class that the Arizona Cardinals are expected to be very active in. And it makes you wonder what exactly the Arizona Cardinals are going to do. Are they going to be penny pinching? Or are they going to be a team that is dead set on the guys that they want? You saw the Dallas Cowboys come out and say they're going to be selectively aggressive on who they go after in free agency, which is just a really fun way of saying they're going to be very frugal. Selectively aggressive is nonsense. So what are the Arizona Cardinals going to do? Are they going to spend willy-nilly? Or is there going to be a clear frugalness to this team? When I see Johnny Venerable posting that guys like Williams and Sweat from the Eagles are going to command massive dollar signs, and they're going to go to the highest bidder, to me that spills just worrisome all over it. It worries me that that the Cardinals could just be spending willy-nilly. Here is my one warning, and potentially final warning about free agency. It is fool's gold. A few years ago, the Patriots went after Hunter Henry and Jalen Mills and a bunch of players. Jonnu Smith. The Jags did the same. Christian Kirk. Bunch of different players. And it totaled between those two teams one playoff win. It's fool's gold. Free agency is finding diamonds in the rough. It's doing what the Eagles did in finding Zach Bond. It's doing what the Cardinals did in grabbing Mack Wilson. It's not just going and getting the biggest names and dropping a grip ton of money on them. That has always been a recipe for disaster when it comes to free agency. So when I see that those players who, let's call it what it is, are average players, maybe a little above average players, and the Cardinals could potentially get both of them, and they're just spending willy-nilly, that doesn't feel right to me. There is a happy medium between selectively aggressive and all-out offense. And I think the Arizona Cardinals know exactly what that means. And I don't think fans should be upset if they decide they don't want to pay Josh Sweat $20 million a year. Because I think we all know that is really insane. So that's a quick cap off of those two guys. And their Combine Speaks yesterday. It was really good to see some Cardinals news in the bracket yesterday.